You know, Rick, I love being in the green room. I don't know if you noticed, but it's my favorite place to be during the whole show. Actually, all my favorite places to be, but I love being in the green room because I get to ask questions kind of like off the record, if I can say it like that about folks. Before I go read this great bio that you have, and folks are already Googling you already, do you mind taking maybe a minute or two and telling us a little about who is Rick and what are you up to these days, my man?
Sure, Shay, appreciate that. And it's really great to be on your show. Thanks so much for having me on. Shay, you know what? Up to a lot of things right now. Been traveling recently, doing keynote speeches, and talking about a book that I have coming out next month. You'll see it right here on Reinventing Yourself. And who isn't out there right now going through changes and reinventing themselves? So I spent about 30 years in the corporate world leading multinational organizations. And now, after about 3 to 4 years, I've gone out on my own, looking to make a dollar and a difference, as they say, towards helping others in their individual quests, as well as organizations, be the very best they can be.
I love it. Be the very best they can be. And what should folks expect from you on this particular episode? Those folks that are tuning in right now, like, yay, it's that time. Welcome, everybody. Hey, I saw you, Jason. This is the right show for you. I promise you, you're going to love Rick. He's out of Canada, man. Great individual. What should they expect from you today, my man?
Thanks, Shay. Well, you know what? Anybody watching your cast right now, I'm sure, is going through one of three things. They're either cleaning up a mess, looking to create a movement, or they're on a mission. And that's what I talk about when we look at looking after change and reinventing ourselves. So I'm here to help in that area.
Fantastic. And there's an individual that we know that connected you and I together by the name of Eric Swanson. And Eric, if you're out there watching, he's with Habitude Warrior. And you can go find him at habitudewarrior.com. Take a moment, Rick, and talk a little bit about the Habitude Warrior Conference because of Eric in a conversation, he said, Shay, how would you like to have Rick on the show? I said, man, if you can make that happen, that would be fantastic. He said, I'm going to send an email. I said, now, do you know what time it is in the morning? Don't worry. He'll see it. I'm sure he'll respond. And you did. So take a moment to talk about that.
Sure, happy to. Thank you. I was fortunate enough to get introduced to Eric myself and his whole concept around Habitude Warrior. And after some brief discussions, Eric and I had a great connection. And he said, look, I want to get you on stage. And they had an event just over a week ago in Houston, where we had over 200 entrepreneurs and individuals there who were all looking to better themselves and their businesses. And this is what Eric does. He brings on stage other speakers, incredible speakers who help, some motivate, some tell a story that people can relate to themselves. All that combined over the course of a weekend to help everybody be, like I mentioned earlier, the best that they can be, both in their personal lives and their business lives. I mean, they name Eric Mr. Awesome for a reason, and he really is. He's just so giving to everybody. And I had the pleasure of being on his stage and meeting his team. And that's what they're there for. They're there to serve. And it's been a great experience, and I look to work with him more in the future.
Wow. Thanks a lot, Eric. We certainly appreciate you, man. You're a rock star. I want to recommend that everyone go over to www.habitudewarrior.com. Again, www.habitudewarrior.com. You don't want to miss it. You want to make sure you're there. With that being said, I'm getting a signal that we got to get going. I'm so excited, Lavonda. I'm so excited, Michael. I'm so excited, Karen. I can't wait. Yeah, we're going to reinvent ourselves. We're going to reinvent our business. And more importantly, we're going to reinvent our life. And the man to do that this evening is going to be none other than Rick Denley. Let's take it away. We got to get going in 5. Rick, this is the only thing I get to do for fun. 4, 3, 2, 1. It's showtime. We'll be back. I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the happy entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Woo-hoo! Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, check. Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Man. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there. And they stay there, and they stay there.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission really is to provide you, the entrepreneur, you, the business owner, you, the person with the big dreams and visions of making a difference in the world. And you need to have the resources necessary to execute 3 visions that you have for yourself. I always like to share this because this is important, because in order to really have those resources, it takes revenue. You have a vision for yourself, the way you want to live, the car you want to drive, the food that you want to eat, the healthcare you want right now. It takes resources. And Rick's going to talk about how you can reinvent yourself or your business to do that. Many of you have a vision for your loved ones, the ones you care the most about. I'm blessed that my sons are grown, but there was a time they were in college, and to send them to college, I had to write a check. It took resources. I take care of Mother Dear. I love Mother Dear, and I get a chance to take her to physical therapy and do some other things, and it feels good. Some of you want to do the same thing. You want me to write a check for a family member or for the community. It takes resources. And others of you, you have a big vision for the people you were called to serve. And you're sitting there and you know you can do more. You know you could be more, but you need more marketing. You need automation. You need Facebook ads. You need to hire a team. And to do that, it takes what? Resources. And that's why we're here today. So Rick, I'm glad you're here today to talk about how to reinvent yourself. What's going on, my man? How you feeling over there up in Canada? What part of Canada?
Thanks, Shay. Doing tremendous here. We're based in Toronto, Ontario, Canada.
Good stuff, man. That's really cool. Look, let me just address the elephant in the room as I say hello to Pamela McNeil, who's out there, Jacqueline Taylor Adams. Thanks for joining. Lorene Lawrence is watching right now. There's got to be a big question in everyone's mind. Is like, what is your background that has brought you really to assist entrepreneurs in this journey to reinvent themselves? Kind of interesting.
Yeah, good question, Shay. Thank you. You know what? It has different areas of interest for me. When we talk about reinventing ourselves, it can be from a personal level. It can be from a professional level. There's several different ways that it can be. And we reinvent ourselves on an ongoing basis. And you know what? We do it on occasion because we want to make a change. We decide that we want to go in a different direction in our personal life, our career, or maybe our organization. We need to adapt to something. And we decide, no, I'm taking it in this direction now. So that is what I call something that we do proactively. And we proactively change and reinvent ourselves. That's one way. The second one, not always favorable to us, is the change that comes our way that we didn't ask for. We probably didn't even anticipate it was coming, much like the environment we're in right now, given these viruses and things that are going on globally, which are having quite a challenge for people that have come our way that we didn't ask for. But in either case, Jay, we have to be able to respond and react and lead ourselves through that change. And in fact, in many cases, reinvent ourselves. We can't be the same person that we were yesterday if we want to get to a different destination tomorrow. That takes a change and a reinvention.
What's the #1 challenge facing? What's going on, Danny? Thanks for joining and asking the question. What's the #1 challenge you feel that's facing people today that prohibits them from reinventing themselves? Although they may know they need to do it, but yet they don't take the action to do it. What kind of holds them back?
Yeah, that's a great question, because there is something that holds a lot of people back. And at first you think, well, it's because people don't plan properly. They're not good planners.
Yeah.
Well, you know what's interesting is when I give keynotes, I'm on stage and I ask people, show of hands, everybody that has a plan. Who has a plan to get through whatever mission, mess, that they're trying to do in their movement? Yeah, all the hands go up. But we know the saying.
Yeah.
We say everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. Then the plan goes out the window. And why? The one common factor is fear. People fear, and there's 4 different types of fear. And I know we're going to talk about it after, but I mentioned them in a chapter in my book. When we look at fear, it could be all different reasons of fear. Fear of not being successful, fear of looking bad, right? Fear of missing out, surprisingly as well, on the changes that might be coming their way. And these fears need to be addressed. They need to be acknowledged, and then looked after so that you can move past them, like any barriers that you might encounter. So fear is the number one reason why a lot of people hold back from reinventing themselves to where they want to be, Shay.
Now, I know you've written the book, and you said there's 4 types of fears. I think you was giving us you didn't tell us all 4 yet, but you can't leave us hanging. First, tell us about the book. So you got the book around you. Let's show the book. I want to do that if you have it. Yeah, of course he has it. Of course, he's going to show the book. He's going to show the book, Reinvent Yourself. There it is right there. And then I'm going to ask him a minute why he wrote the book. I'm going to ask him, don't worry, I'm going to ask him, and how you can get the book. But he mentioned there's 4 different types of fears. And some of you out there right now, as you're looking at Rick and you're seeing the book, you're saying, all right, which fear do I have? Because I just thought that it was procrastination. I don't know what the 4 fears are, but I'm going to ask Rick to kind of, if he don't mind, maybe breaking it down in the amount of time that he has. And then he's going to tell you how to get the book. Everyone needs not to get the book for yourself, but for someone else. But before we do that, Rick, for everyone that's watching out there, like Lisa Jeffrey and Crystal Cunningham and Linda Reese and so many folks, do me a favor. You have Rick's permission, I'm sure, and you have my permission. Hit the share button right now. Hit the button. And when you hit that share button, you can share this to your community. You can share this to your Facebook group. You can share this on your page. And when you hit the share button, just write, it's time to reinvent yourself. Hashtag Rick Denley. Denley. It's time to reinvent yourself. Hashtag Rick Denley. And why do I want you to do that? Because wherever you are in your life, no matter what you're going on, if you're live right now and you're watching this, you can hear the sound of our voice. If there was ever a time to consider reinventing yourself, well, let me tell you, now is that time. So I'm going to ask Rick, if you don't mind, you don't have to give us all of them if you don't want, Rick, but give us 1 or 2 and kind of frame the conversation for those folks that are listening.
Yeah, certainly. You know what? When we look at reinventing ourselves, like I said, 2 types of change that come our way. One that we created, and we are held accountable by ourselves for that. And we usually follow through with it. But the one that comes our way that we didn't ask for. Like I mentioned right now, the environment that we're in, with different challenges of viruses worldwide and how that's impacting ourselves, and more than likely your business as well. And how do you respond to that as opposed to just react? That's what's key here for us. Now, we could be fearful of it, but at some point we need to get past that. Shay, we need to utilize our leadership characteristics that got us to where we are so far, and then maybe sharpen up on some new ones that are going to take us to where we want to be going forward. Those are the things that we need to look at. So when you look at types of fear that come our way, one of them, and the main one, is fear of failure. We're very much afraid of failing, of trying something new and then looking bad, at least what we think we look bad, in the eyes of our family members, our peers, our business associates, because we weren't successful. So the fear of failure is very much a prominent one to start with. And that's something that we have to acknowledge and then look at how we reduce the chance of us failing, how we create a plan that can withstand the punches to the face going forward. So that's one of the main areas that we have.
The punches to the face. I like that. The punches to the face. Getting hit with the punch to the face. That makes me ask just a question that might be on the mind of a number of folks that are watching right now, at least me, is how does one deal with, and we'll talk about what your background is to help folks, but what's your recommendation to the person that says, oh yeah, I was fearful of people making fun of me or people understanding I'm not as good as they are or comparing myself to other folks? How does someone get over that from just a mindset perspective? Because I know I'm guilty. I'm a stutterer. And at first I was like, oh my God, I'm going to stutter. I'm not going to look like everybody else on camera. I'm not going to look like a Toastmaster and be very, very professional and all that. And I was worried people would say all the time. And so I'm wondering, how does someone, my question to you really, Rick, in all seriousness is, what do you tell your clients or suggest to folks that got to get over that thing in their mind?
Yeah, and it's a very good point. That's one thing that we need to do. In the book, I talk about the fact that first off, let's identify what type of fear you have. Before we can address it, we need to be sure which fear it is that you're going through or that you're even anticipating having. And anticipation is a key word here. We then anticipate how that fear is going to negatively impact the journey that you're on and the direction that you're trying to get to in reinventing yourself, which helps us understand that we need quite a clear vision where we're headed. But once we understand the fear, then we look at where it's rooted and where it came from, and then we begin addressing it. And even looking at it in the face, as you should your fear, you should look it directly in the face so that you understand where it's coming from and you're going to know how to handle it. Yeah, you may take a punch in the face, but if you're ready for it and you understand how it's going to impact you and then how to acknowledge it and move past it, you'll be more successful in addressing that fear. And it won't paralyze you. You don't want to get paralyzed by fear. You want to be able to understand it. And in fact, one final thing that I talk about is how you want to take that energy, that fearful energy, and move it in your direction that you're going and actually use it to your benefit. That can happen.
You know, take a moment and tell our audience more about how you assist entrepreneurs or individuals to really break through that ceiling so they can have the growth they want and really reinvent themselves.
Right. That's a great question and thought. The way that we go about approaching that, Shay, and breaking through that growth ceiling that you mentioned is by changing habits. We're very habitual and we're brought up that way. And even our brain doesn't want to change habits. It's been doing the same thing a certain way for a long period of time and it's comfortable with that. It doesn't want to break away from those habits, but we have to. And learning to change your habits and actually rewire the brain a bit so that it's comfortable with a certain amount of uncertainty is a huge advantage. You have to actually be able to live with a certain amount of uncertainty and uncomfortableness to get to where you want to be in your challenge. For the sports people out there, I'll give you the analogy of baseball. You can't steal second base and keep your foot on first. Doesn't work that way. At some point, you have to be out there where you're not safe, where there's a challenge for you in between the two so that you can get to the next destination and the next growth and the next advancement that you want to be at.
You know, I love how you mentioned that. I love the importance of getting to that next level, which you kind of talked about just now. You mentioned sports, you mentioned analogies, you're talking about reinventing yourself. What's the number one reason why someone should go and read the book? And we're gonna come back to the book, but I want you to share real quick. What's the number one reason someone should read the book, and who's the book for? Reinvent Yourself.
Well, the book really is for both individuals and entrepreneurs who are looking to reinvent themselves or their organization because the process is the same. I talk about a winning formula, and you know, I kid people as well, and no offense to them, but I'm a recovering engineer. So my first degree out of school was engineering. So I like to put together technical, complicated type formulas and things like that. And I come up with one, and it's in the book. And the formula helps us get to where we want to be, but it simplifies it. So why the people are going to want to buy the book is that it helps them get from where they are now to where they want to be with a successful formula, as we call it. Now, the interesting thing about the way I did the book as well is that it's not just about me. It's not just about clinical formulas as well. There's some real life stories in there. And with the permission and sitting down and talking with some individuals in my inner circle, they shared their stories and how they reinvented themselves. And each one was a little bit different. And I've put those stories throughout the chapters of the book so that the reader can identify with somebody. It might not be me specifically. It may be another person that tells their story and how they broke the cycle, or you know, how they moved on from one situation to another to create their second career comeback. So there's different stories weaved in that people are going to connect with, as well as the more technical process-oriented part of the book.
You know, I love that. When we come back, we're going to ask Rick if he'll talk about. I mean, he may not. It's his call, but talk about how he reinvented himself to help really fight the C word. And it's not the C word that you know that we're talking about today. It's the C word that's been out there for a while, which is cancer. And when we come back, I'm going to ask him, and we'll be back in less than 2 minutes, but I'm going to ask him to talk about that and hear his story. You talk about sharing other people's story, but Rick, I hope you're open to sharing your story on how you were able to reinvent yourself fighting cancer. I want to share that with the audience. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. We're going to go over to the one and only Dr. Kenneth Thigpen down in Raleigh, North Carolina, and she talks about confidence is currency. And then we'll come back. Rick's going to share his story. You don't want to miss it. Hit the share button right now, by the way. Hit the watch party button and pay this message forward. Say it's time to reinvent yourself, because this is your year, this is your month, and this is your time. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. Take it away, Doctor.
Hello, it's your girl, Dr. Kenneth Thigpen, also known as Dr. K, founder of Rise Women's Network. And Rise Women's Network is pleased to present to you #Next Sister Up. I'm with you in the Happy Entrepreneurs Tribe, and today is my January 1st. Here's your thought of the week. Confidence is currency. You see, confidence is one of the most important factors when it comes to one's success. Your confidence is ultimately how strongly you believe in your skills, your level to perform, and your ability to reach goal attainment. So I wanted to share with you 4 ways in order to convert your confidence into currency. First, you must do the things that you are afraid of. Now, I get it. We're afraid of the unknown. We're afraid of uncertainty. We're afraid of success and failure. We're afraid of being judged and what people are going to think about us. But the fastest way to build your confidence is to do the thing that you are afraid of first. Stop putting a wall of fear between you and your confidence. Second, you want to be able to set your bar and your goals oh so high. Set them so high that you have no clue how you're going to be able to achieve them. Because when you set very low and weak goals, you're going to get mediocre results. Number 3, you want to be able to ask questions. When you don't know, when you're stuck, take time to ask questions, because powerful people ask powerful questions because questions steer focus. And in this life, you get what you focus on. And number 4, you want to let go of perfection. Now, oftentimes people think that perfection is there to protect them from something, when in reality, it prevents them from everything. And so remember, you are braver than you believe, you are stronger than you seem, and you are smarter than you think. It's your girl, Dr. K. Make it a great day.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome back to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue focused late night show in the country, where we're on a mission. And that mission is to empower, that mission is to inspire, and that mission really is to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources necessary to execute the vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And this morning, this evening, this afternoon, whatever time it is for you, wherever you are in the world, we're talking to the one and only Rick Denley, and he's talking about how you can reinvent yourself, reinvent your life, and reinvent your business. And how true is that? Rick, before the break, I asked you a question, if you would be open and comfortable with sharing how you were able to reinvent yourself and fight cancer. Will you talk about that, please, with the audience?
Yeah, I will. Thank you for the opportunity to. You know what? Life is bigger than just ourselves, Shay. And when we look at how it impacts us, I looked around and noticed that people close to me, family members, were being impacted by this terrible disease. And now we know the numbers that, especially in North America, we're looking at 1 in 4 being badly impacted by cancer in some way, shape, or form. Ourselves, a loved member. And I lost 2 uncles to it, and my mom had challenges with breast cancer along with my sister-in-law and things. So it touches everybody, and everybody that I speak to has a story that they've been impacted badly or even lost a loved one to cancer. So years ago, I took up the fight against cancer in trying to build 2 things, awareness and funds as well. And we have a local hospital which fights cancer on a regular basis called Princess Margaret. And what we do with that particular hospital is we look to raise money and funds for it. And interestingly, in my own personal life, I was looking for something different. I'm a good Canadian boy who's played hockey since he was very young. And I was looking for a change as well in the sports and how I approach them, which are very important to me in life. Then along came this opportunity to combine 2 things: my love of athletics and learning something new, and doing a bit of philanthropy as well. And the philanthropy of giving back towards fighting cancer. So I did different bike rides with them to raise money and awareness, different charity events. And then just over a year ago came an opportunity that somebody enlightened me about, where they take entrepreneurs like myself and reinvent us into literally what you see behind me here, which are fighters. And we actually trained for over 8 months to participate in a gala event, which builds awareness and funds towards cancer research. So I became part of a team of 10 that were trained for a long period of time to condition our minds, our bodies in a different way. And if you want to talk about fear and overcoming fear, yeah, I learned to somewhat overcome fear so that I could end up in the ring fighting an opponent. Now, we said that we were fighting cancer, which was the cause, but at the end of the day, this was a sanctioned amateur bout that I was involved in. So I had a lot of stretching of myself to reinvent myself, as I said, physically and mentally. And I had to create plans. So there was a tremendous amount of learnings in there. And I do take some of that over into the book when I explain some of the stories that went on as well. So I think that we all need something that goes beyond just ourselves, goes beyond our work, where we help others. And in this case, I reinvented myself so that I could build awareness and funds to fight cancer.
Yeah, what's one of the lessons you learned? That's a very admirable thing. So thank you for all that you're doing to fight cancer and doing your part.
Yeah.
How serious is that? I lost a father to that 3 years ago. So I get it. I do understand. I guess my question to you is, what's one of the lessons you learned training as an elite athlete, as someone has run 5 marathons myself and countless races, being able to bike and then switch up and you decide to go, you're going to go box. It's like, I don't even like doing that with my personal trainer, right? I hate hitting the bag. I mean, I just know then it's going to be a cardio workout that I don't want. I'd rather go run if I had my way. But my question, I guess, is what's one lesson you learned from that training as an elite athlete that you now can take and apply in your life and in your business?
Sure. 2 things I want to share with you then. The first one, being that our bodies and our minds are only specific to the tasks that we've done in the past. Having been an elite athlete, especially in the areas of cycling and hockey, I thought initially that my transferable skill set and conditioning would just morph over into the fighting and the boxing. And when I started to go to the gym, we did hour conditioning classes. Well, if you've ever done an hour conditioning class for boxing, it kicked my butt to start with. And it was incredible because we think, no, I'm in good shape and I can handle all this, but you can't. So that ties into the main one that I want to tell you about, which was probably my greatest learning, which was really humility. You know, we have to be humble at all times. Again, it's good to have confidence. We don't want to be cocky, but humility and being humble keeps us honest and keeps us, and just now, we're going through something now globally that we didn't anticipate, and it's going to humble a lot of people and a lot of businesses into rethinking the way that they do things, you know, that maybe they're not as great or as bulletproof as they thought they were, and we'll have to readdress that. So, yeah, you know what, being humbled, and I can tell stories anytime about being humbled as well by some really good fighters that have done this all their life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
share one. If you want to share one, that's fine. Go right ahead. Is there one?
Yeah, sure. At the risk of my own, sure. Why not? No, okay, sparring in the gym. We sparred with the other people on the team who had started off at a base level like us, and then we learned as we went, and that was good. I did fairly well with that, and I thought, yeah, you know what, I've got this. In fact, the name that I was given and I took on for the fight, because everybody needs a name, they need it on the back of their, you know, hoodie as they come in, and I went with the natural. I thought, you know what, I'm natural at this. I'm doing really well. Well, when we then began sparring with the boxing gym actual fighters, our coach told us these fighters will fight at your level, but if you ramp it up, they'll ramp it up with you. Well, I learned fairly quickly that one of my, I'll say strong points was my jab. And unfortunately, I landed it once or twice on one of the other club boxers, who then, like they said they would, ramped it up. Well, I got taught fairly quickly my humility and learned what a real fighter is like, and had to learn again, and again. So, yeah, it was good. It was humbling, but we need that now and again as well. Why we need that is so that we can realize that we're not as prepared for tomorrow as we think we are. We're not quite sure what's going to come our way, and we need to consistently hone our skills, improve our knowledge, and be utilizing the most recent and best-in-class tools to help us get where we want to be.
Oh man, that's fabulous. And I know that one of the things that makes you unique and different is not only do you teach people how to reinvent themselves, you also teach sales, you teach leadership. I mean, you do a lot
Right.
with business owners. Take a moment, and I know this wasn't part of the topic, but I'm just curious what your view of the world is. Take a moment and talk about maybe the top 2 leadership characteristics that someone needs. And I say that because I hear you need to be a leader of one before you're a leader of many, right?
Right.
And so maybe you'll share 1 or 2 characteristics that someone that's listening right now, that's leading
Yeah.
the organization, leading your family, leading yourself, or leading a company right now. This will help you right now. And I've asked Rick to do this, and he's just said yes. So let's hear what Rick has to say.
Sure, thank you. You know, one thing that we need, especially in these times right now, is that we need to be empathetic leaders. You know, the time for hardcore and things is yesterday. There needs to be some empathy when we look at what people are going through right now. It's not even just their careers that they're challenged by. They've got families to look after. They've got themselves to look after. And we as leaders need to be sure that we deploy the right amount of empathy with the individuals that we're working with. Because in the long run, we'd want that for ourselves, given being in their position. The second characteristic I'll talk about is grit. And when I talk about grit, I'm talking about 2 main things. And Angela Duckworth wrote an incredible book called Grit. And I borrow this from her with all respect. And she talks about, after years of studying what made different people successful, pro athletes, entrepreneurs, owners of big business, politicians, she said it boiled down to 2 main characteristics. And that's passion and persistence. If we're going to get anywhere and accomplish things that are very challenging, we better be passionate about it and then combine that with persistence. Using myself as an example, I wouldn't have made it to that fight night 9-10 months in with the amount of dedication, training that was necessary if I wasn't passionate about making a difference to beat cancer. You combine that with persistence on a regular basis, that is your formula for success. You need those characteristics. And you know what? We should lead in an empathetic manner, especially right now.
Man, that is so powerful. You know, Rick, when we come back, I want you to talk a little about, we'll go into a segment called Today is My January 1st. And for everyone that's out there watching right now, it's one of my favorite segments. Of course, they're all my favorite segments. And we wouldn't do them, by the way. And then I'm going to ask Rick, how can we connect with Rick? How can we stay in this conversation with the one and only man himself, Rick? Now, right now, we're going to go down to Dorsey Hill. And Dorsey Hill is in Houston, Texas. And she talks about the 3 mantras for daily inspiration. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes with the one and only Rick Denley himself, talking about reinventing yourself, reinventing your life, and reinventing your business. How true is that? We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. Take it away, Dorsey.
Hey, I've been waiting for you. I'm so glad you're back here with me in this fabulous happy entrepreneur tribe. And you know why I'm happy? It's because it's my January 1. I'm so excited that I can do every day over if I need to. And you know what? Sometimes I'm like a kid. I need a do-over, right? All right, well today, in case you don't know me, I'm Dorsey Hill. I'm the founder of the Healthy, Happy, Fun Life Network and Academy, and I'm super excited to be back here, and I have 3 things I want to share with you today. So get out your pen, your paper, your Post-it, put it on your notes, wherever. I'm going to wait just a second. To get it? Okay, good. All right. So on your paper, I want you to write 3 things. I deserve this, meaning you. I deserve this. This is my path. This is my path. And there is no other way. There is no other way. And you know what that's going to do? I want you to write that down. I want you to stick it somewhere where you see it. I want you to put it on your phone and put a reminder, because I know you feel this, because I felt this too, that why would anyone want to listen to me? What do I have to share with the world? What if this doesn't work? You know what? We all get into that, and we need these little reminders. We have to be our own best cheerleader when we create this business. So I want you guys to write this down, say this with me, and say it every day. I deserve this. This is my path. There is no other way. And you know why? Because you're awesome, you deserve it, and we need you and your gifts in the world. Well, as always, my wish for each and every one of you, until next time, is that you're healthy, you're happy, and you're having a ton of fun in this life and business that you're creating. My biggest Texas love and hugs to each and every one of you. Bye-bye for now. Mwah.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome back to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country, where we're on a mission. And our mission is to empower. Our mission is to inspire. And our mission is really to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all of the resources necessary to execute the vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And this morning, this evening, tonight, whatever time it is for you, we're here with Rick Denley, and that's exactly what we're doing. We're going into one of our segments now called Today is My January 1st. And for those folks that are tuned in for the very first time, welcome, 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 by the way. And for those folks that tune in all the time, you can look right below the video and you can write those words. Today is my January 1st. Let me unpack this for all of our new folks if I can. Today is my January 1st represents that moment that can happen anytime throughout the day that you make a decision. And that decision can impact the trajectory of your life. And it's a do-over when you make that decision. It's a restart when you make that decision. It's a change when you make that decision. It's my past doesn't equal my future. I get a chance. And you think about decisions you make, right? You either go to the gym or you sit on the couch. That's a January 1st moment, right? You either eat hamburgers and French fries, or you go to the refrigerator, open it up, and there's some broccoli and some Brussels sprouts in there and some carrots, by the way, and some celery, and that sounds good to you. That's a January 1st moment. So my question to Rick is, Rick, when you hear those words, today is my January 1st, what does it mean to you? What resonates with you?
Well, it's a great saying, Shay, and thank you for sharing it. You know, today's my January 1st. And as you mentioned, it's a start over. It's a clean slate. You know, you get to look at your future and make it whatever you want it to be. And envisioning where you want to be is very powerful as well. Because once we put that out there, once we communicate it to others, not just ourselves, once we write it down and share it to the universe, it helps us achieve it. It's the first step in getting there on your January 1st and your new beginning. You know, the biggest challenge that people have, Shay, in reinventing themselves is getting started. And the biggest excuse that I hear is timing. This isn't the right time for me. You know, this isn't a good time. Financially, it's not right. I'm busy with other things, and any excuse that they can make up. Interestingly enough, the people that I speak to that did a large change, that reinvented themselves, said that they wish they'd done it sooner, not waited. So don't wait. This is your January 1st, whatever day of the year it might happen to be. This is the time to get starting on fixing whatever mess you've got, creating that movement that you've been wanting to do, or heading out on that mission. Now is the time. Don't delay that. In fact, I want to read you a quote here, and it's from Steve Jobs. It says, "Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, right? Which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most importantly, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary. So don't wait. The time is now. It's your January 1st.
The time is now. So true. Rick, what was your January 1st moment? That moment that you made a decision that you were going to be an entrepreneur. You were going to plant your flag, and this is what you were going to do. You were going to find a way to make it happen so you can serve other folks?
Yeah. You know what? Mine came to me, initially the change was handed to me. I had left corporate world, but not fully. I still had one foot on first, leaning towards second, like I talked about earlier. And I worked for an organization, and we had a contract in place. Eventually that contract ran out, and actually they helped it run out and me move forward as well. So I got moved on, and I sat down to reflect on what had happened over that period of time, as we should. Everybody should reflect, reflecting daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. And I reflected why I wasn't successful in this particular role as they thought that I should be. And it's something that we talked about earlier, Shay. I lost my passion. Working in the corporate environment didn't challenge me anymore, and I didn't feel I was impacting enough people in the way that I wanted to help them be the very best that they could be. And that was important to me. So my initiatives and the things that mattered to me shifted and changed, and then I had to reinvent what I was doing so that I could again satisfy that and help as many people as possible grow to their full potential. And I needed to do that by taking a different direction. And that's what I do now as an entrepreneur, as a speaker, and as an author.
Thanks for sharing. And you talked about reinventing yourself. You talked about today is your January 1st. You can reinvent yourself. Today is your January 1st. You get a do-over and you can start. And there's some folks out there that are saying, yeah, today's my January 1st. Yes, I'm going to reinvent myself. Just like back on December 31st, after a couple drinks on the back of a napkin, they started writing down these resolutions and it sounded good. And I don't know if you know this or not, Rick, but January 17th is National Ditch Your Resolution Day. Like you can go Google that. Like January 17th, people ditch it. Matter of fact, if you ask someone today, what was your resolutions back on December 31st? They'd be like, huh? Yeah. That was so long ago. They have no idea. My question to you is, how do you teach folks to be consistent? You've heard consistency is the key. Consistency is the key. Consistency has the key. But having said that, most folks struggle with what? Consistency. So they want to reinvent themselves. They got the right mindset. They got the rah-rah. But then for whatever reason, they fall off track. So what do you teach people to do in order to be consistent?
Well, you know what? We plan for it. And in the book, there's an exercise where we look at your past, because this won't be the first time that you've said, yeah, I'm going to do this, or I'm going in that direction, and it didn't work out. What are the habits? What are the patterns that you've had in the past? And we address those so that when they crop up again, they won't hold you back. They won't stop you from going forward. And we actually call it in the book, we call it stickiness. So how are we going to make this stick so that you continue on your pathway? Look, it's okay to rest if you're tired. Just don't stop. 2 steps forward, 1 step back's even fine. But let's keep moving forward as much as we can. So we address that in the book.
Oh, I love that. You keep talking about the book, Rick. You keep talking about the book. 1, how can they connect with you? Number 1. And number 2, how can they get the book?
Yeah, it's a great question. Thank you. Now, the book comes out next week. So until that time, go to www.rickdenley.com, which is my website, and you'll see a subscribe
button. Say a little slow. Let me see. Okay, he said the website is, he said www. So I get it. www.rickdenley. Spell that for us if you will.
.com.
DENLEY.com. There it is right there. There it is right there. So we're going to go there now. So I'm going to go there. Let's all make sure the website works, by the way. Sometimes these websites, for whatever reason, you know, these monsters out there, check it out. They don't work. So I'm going to type it in. You type it in too. Let's get there now. Okay. There we are. Well, that's not it. There should be it. There we go. There's Rick Denley right there. That's you. So we're on your website. Everyone go to his website, Transformational Growth Specialist. Hey, why'd you pick that title? I love that title. Why'd you pick Transformational Growth Specialist?
If we're going to grow, we have to transform. We have to change something. We don't grow by staying the same. We grow through action, specific action that we need to take, not just by word of mouth. We need to change something. And that's what that transformation is that we'll be going through. There you are. As you scroll down, you'll see that you can subscribe there.
They will subscribe here. So I'm going to come and subscribe in a minute. I'll subscribe in a minute because I know it's going to take me somewhere. And then when they look about us, okay, we're here on your site now. This is great. photo gallery. So you've shared the stage with some pretty cool folks.
Yeah, I have. I've had the opportunity to share it with Bill Walsh, Laura Langemeyer, and quite a few others through different speaking engagements. I actually was to be on stage with Grant Cardone this weekend in Toronto for the Wealth Summit.
Oh,
but
wow.
like
I was
many
talking
other
to Dr.
things,
Obam, who's supposed to be there with you. He just canceled his as well. He's going to be on stage.
yeah, correct. And Daniel Gomez was going to be there
Yeah.
with me too, who's bringing out a new book. But listen, we're just rolling with those changes right now. We'll be back on stage.
We now conclude Shay Brown and the Happy Entrepreneur Show.
That's right. That's another one. There'll be pictures up there very soon. So go to the website, subscribe on the website, and I'll be sure to get you a link immediately when the book is available on Amazon.com, which is early next month, just a few weeks away.
Good. And you got tools here as well. So this is cool. Essential sales skills. You help folks with their selling skills. Help
Absolutely.
do your 90-day plan. Turn your harness your inner leader overview. Oh, this is great. They can click this and just download it. What great
They can
CEOs
download
do
them right now, and if they want a bit of guidance on filling them out and how to utilize them, send me a note in the Contact Us, and I'll be happy to have a 15-minute consultation with them.
Oh, this is cool. Okay, I'm gonna fill this out. Now, do you mind sharing one idea? I love you got down here time management. Is that even possible? Give us one idea around time management and life balance. Everyone needs to go download these things. Do a 15-minute session. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be a good use of your time.
Absolutely.
But talk about time management and life balance. Tell us a little bit about that. That's pretty interesting.
Well, I like to do, and I've got a couple of surveys and tools that we make use of for people so that they can identify where they have areas that they need to improve their time management. One of the tricks that we use is time blocking. Time blocking has you look out 2-3 weeks ahead and block half-day modules for important tasks to get done, both on your personal life and your business life. We block that time ahead. Then we communicate that extremely well to others, whether it be in our business, our family, and say, no, this time is blocked for that. Anything that's a priority to you, time block it, it'll get done.
Time block it and it will get done. How true is that? When we come back, we're coming down the home stretch. We're going to go into a rapid fire segment. One, I suggest you all go over to what's the website again, Rick?
rickdenley.com, rickdenley.com.
Go over there and subscribe right away. I know I'm a subscriber. I'm on the list. As soon as we hit this button, we're going to do that. I want you to do the exact same thing right now. When we come back, we're going to learn a little more about Rick. We're going to learn one of the lessons he learned from his mentor, or one of his mentors along his journey of life that he's going to share with us. And then we'll get into some of his closing comments. So we'll be back in less than 2 minutes. We're going to go over to Sean Harper. Sean Harper talks about the law of capacity. Let's go see what Sean Harper has to say, a former 7-year time football player. Great guy. We'll be back in just a moment. Take it away, Sean, in Ohio.
Hi, my name is Sean Harper, motivational speaker, author, investor. I love investing in people because people have the potential of generating years of dividends. This is my January 1st. And as I'm moving in January 1st, I have to be mindful of the laws, the law of capacity. Now, if you know me, I break all the rules, but I never break laws. If you break laws, laws will break you. Laws are unchangeable. So the law of capacity is that you will grow in proportion to your environment. It reminds me of a story of a guy named Walt Disney. We all know Walt Disney, but Walt Disney started out after a couple failed ventures. He started out with Disneyland, south of Anaheim, California. And he had great success, but he had one challenge. He was landlocked. And so he couldn't expand. And so he secretly, anonymously, began to buy up land in the Orlando area. And he formed shell companies, and he brought 500 acres here, 100 acres here with this company, and maybe 2,000 acres with this company. And he went on, and a investigative journalist caught on to it, but not until he amassed over 26 to 30,000 acres. And now that man, who is now deceased, still has land that's not been developed. His dream was huge, but his capacity was small. One of the problems or challenges that we face as entrepreneurs, as business owners, business leaders, is that we run out of capacity. When there's stress in the business, when there's stress as an entrepreneur, it's usually one or two problems. A, you don't have the systems, or B, you have a lack of capacity. That is a spiritual law. And I often compare spiritual laws or look for evidence of spiritual laws in nature. You take a shark, put it in the fish tank, it gets this big. Take that same baby shark, put it in the ocean, it gets this big. Before you dream, or right after you dream, the first thing you do is you begin to build your capacity. Before you build up, you gotta build down. Thank you. Play to win. Bye-bye.
Well, it's a great day. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur, and welcome back to the Happy Entrepreneur Show, the #1 business development and revenue-focused late-night show in the country, where we're on a mission to empower, to inspire, and to provide you, the entrepreneur, with all the resources necessary to execute the vision you have for the people you were called to serve. And now we're going to a segment with Rick, the author of Reinventing Yourself, a book that's coming out in the next 30 days. I think you said, Rick, is that correct?
Right.
Okay, it'll be out within the next 30 days. You can find them over at www.rickdenley.com. I'm going to suggest you go over there now. And we're going to go into a rapid fire segment. That means I ask any question that's top of mind to me, and Rick gets to answer it in a minute or less. Or it could be a minute or two, by the way. And then we're going to have him give his final thoughts and comments to inspire and empower all of us to go out there and reinvent ourselves. But my first question top of mind to me, Rick, right now is what's one of the lessons you've learned from any one of your mentors along this journey that you could share with the audience that we could take away?
One of my mentors was a senior executive at an organization of a multinational company where I headed the Canadian division. Now, this individual's role was to work with all of the divisional heads to gain their input and consensus on initiatives for the country for a shared services type of arrangement that they had that looked after logistics and legal and accounting and so on. But the interesting challenge for this individual was that we didn't report to him. Okay, there wasn't even barely a dotted line, yet he needed to gain our understanding and our commitment on certain issues. Now, I'd worked at the organization a couple years and seen him being very successful at this, but never quite understanding why. Then we were on a cross-country trip one time, and I got to sit beside him for a few hours, and his name was Larry Barrett. I said, Larry, how do you get everybody's input and buy-in and so on when we don't report to you? I don't have to answer to you and listen to what you have to say. And he looked at me and paused for a minute, and he said, moral suasion. Moral suasion. I said, what is moral suasion? And over the years in his explanation, I've come to realize that it's really just working with people and getting them to understand why things need to be done as opposed to thou shalt. It's a much softer approach, but for intelligent people who communicate well, moral suasion works extremely well. So that's something that I learned from one of my mentors.
I love it. Thanks for sharing. What's an affirmation or a saying that you tell yourself on a continuous basis that keeps you motivated, keeps you inspired, and keeps you going? I know there's so many thoughts, so many quotes, so many affirmations, but what's one or two that just pops top of mind to you and says, you know what, Shay, this lights my fire?
Yeah, one of them, Shay, is nothing changes until you change.
Tell us more about that.
Until you take some real action. Nothing changes until you change. That's a very important one. The other one I like to share too is that, and it's a really more symbolism, but life is like a treadmill. If you stop, you're actually going backwards. If you stop learning, if you stop growing, if you stop trying, you're actually going backwards. So we need to keep moving forward one step at a time, one foot in front of the other.
Sure. And you've read so many books along the way, but I'm curious, what's a book or a movie that you've read that's really had a significant impact on you, whether it was a recent book or a book in the past, anything other than the Bible, that's in its own category. But
right.
What's one of the books or movies that you've read or seen that's really spoke to you?
Robert Herjavec is a immigrant to Canada, a Polish immigrant, and he started with very little with his family and started a business because he had a passion behind it. And now as a multimillionaire, you've probably seen him on Shark Tank and other shows like that. He wrote a book called Driven. And that's an excellent book for people to read, Robert Herjavec's book, Driven, because it talks about what it takes to be successful, whatever success means to you. So that was something that I've read and really helped me along the way.
Sure. Last question. What does What does Rick do for fun when he's not out saving the world and reinventing lives and reinventing businesses? What does he do for fun, man?
Well, you know what? I do like being with other people quite a bit, so I try and help out any way that I can. I've got two boys as well that are in their 20s, and anytime we can get together and share some good times together, we like to do that. And wanting to stay active also, I like to go for hikes with my dog and go for cycling rides as well. So those are things I enjoy doing.
Cool, man. Well, once again, tell us the name of the book. Tell us where they can get the book, and tell us one more time what's one of the reasons why someone out there listening right now should not only buy one book when it comes out, but maybe buy a group of books and share it with someone else. Tell us one more
They
time.
make fabulous gifts, and I love giving books as gifts as well. It really shows that you care when you do that. So the book will be available in early April on Amazon, but right now, if you head over and subscribe on my website, I'll be sure to get you the lead into the book ahead of time. And the book is called, as you can see it right behind me here, it's Reinvent Yourself. And it's something that readers are going to really enjoy, I believe, because of the stories that are intertwined. Real life stories of people that have had to reinvent themselves for different reasons, maybe one similar to theirs. And this helps them. It's like a blueprint that will help them be successful in any reinvention that they're going through, whether they're cleaning up a mess, creating a movement, or on a mission.
So true. Well, once again, let me say thank you so much, Rick. I certainly appreciate you being on a Happy
Hey, thanks for having me.
Show. Thank you. I want to make sure that every single one you go over to www.rickdenley.com. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you go to the bottom, right? You got to go to the bottom. That's the cool stuff, by the way.
Yeah, there's some good information down there. Yeah, download some of those tools. And like I say, if people have questions about them, shoot me a note on the Contact Us page, and I'll be happy to have a conversation with them.
Fantastic. And I'd like you to have your final thoughts, man, to those folks, to empower them, to inspire them. Again, I want to thank, before you do that, thank Eric Swanson with Habitude Warrior for putting us together, man. Without you, we wouldn't be communicating right now. It was after a conversation. He said, Shay, I got just the guy that can make a difference for your audiences. So thanks a lot, man. Eric, you rock.
I appreciate Eric very much.
You are incredible. All right, my man, I'm going to turn over you to have your final thoughts and comments, man, to empower, inspire us, and allow us to do more, have more, and be more. Over to you.
Shay, thanks very much. I appreciate it. I just want everybody to imagine themselves on their deathbed, surrounded by all the ghosts of the things they never did, okay? And those ghosts will say to you, why didn't you bring us to life? Now we have to go to the grave with you. Don't be saying you wish you had of. You wish that you could have, because you can. And the time is now to get over whatever changes come your way, to reinvent yourself, to be the very best you can be and break through your own growth ceiling. Good luck with it. I look forward to speaking with you more.
Your time is now. Reinvent yourself. Today is your January 1st. Everyone look right below the video. Look right below the video as we close out. But today is my January 1st. Reinvent myself. Today is my January 1st. I'm going to get going right now. This is your time. I want you to know that you're amazing, that every single one of you watching, you're incredible. You've got greatness inside you. And I know for you, the best is still yet to come. The best is yet to come. With that being said, my name for those folks that are just tuning in is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. And I promise you from the bottom of my heart, we'll make some good things happen. We connect again next time. God bless. And I wish every single one of you success. Thanks a lot, Rick, man. You're a rock star. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Shay.
Promise I made to my mom. I only did this message for one person, and that's my mom. This is for you, Mom. Love you. My name is Shay Brown, the Happy Entrepreneur. Make it a great day, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Shay Brown.
Mic check, mic check.
All I do is win, no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up.
Yes. Yeah.
And they stay there, and they stay there, and they stay there.
Yeah.
'Cause all I do is win.
Thank you. God bless.